Capital. We focus on generating revenue streams in business as well as providing access to, and awareness and resources for greater social benefit. I think that's something we're all interested in here. I grew up in Seattle and I am a Gen Xer. I'm here to say that we are also doing something in the world. We're not just lazy. Yeah, thank you. The other Gen Xer that's here. What I do at Earth Venture Capital is I sit down with businesses, small businesses, larger and larger businesses who are finally listening to some of this new language. And although it passes by in first wash, presence the sector, we're change agents and that kind of thing, the second and third time it really begins to sink in because this stuff is real. I've been preaching about value in business for the last 10 years when I started as an entrepreneur, a company called Violet Shade that made UV ray block parasols for women. That company donated proceeds to the environment, and I sat across from venture capitalists many times while they shook their hands and said, "Your silly little parasols, what are they going to do?" So I put my boots on and went to law school and started to really dig in deep to this space and study international law and policy, negotiation, getting a broad perspective on these issues, and preaching again and again that we've got to get back to what businesses do best. You know, we've seen how the crash has occurred. Car companies were in finance, banks are in real estate, everything is mixed up. When I sit down with a company, I literally have to ask them, what is it that you do and how do you communicate that? Because that's the essence. Does it mean something to you? Does it excite you? Does it give you joy? If you're not connected to your business, it's not sustainable. You're going to burn out in 2 years, 3 years. I also take them through a process which is, since I'm a Gen Xer, I have this bad 80s metaphor, which is built on businesses are often built like those tiered champagne waterfalls that you see at weddings. But I go directly to the top champagne glass. What is it in your business that is going to benefit all the other sectors? And then we start talking about what is the thing that you can do in your business that's going to benefit your culture, your environment, your local employees. Honing in on those specific, active, real, as George said, roadmaps, and activating on those is what is going to accelerate this process that we're all in. We're all sometimes in it with growing pains, and sometimes we hear things and we're just like, that just sounds too out there. But I have to say, just take what you like and leave the rest. You know, we're all here to have cross-communication within the sectors. The other thing that I wanted to just mention is that, you know, in being a proud sort of generalist, because I gather together teams of whatever business I'm working with needs, you know, whether it's legal or social or creating change agents within a company. I just wanted to touch on leadership as well, in that within each of our environments, so where we go to work on a daily basis, we can be that conscience. And we can stop dividing ourselves from our environment. This isn't a weekend operation. We have to invigorate ourselves with consciousness and conscience in order to change the way things are done. It's uncomfortable, but necessary.
Very, very moved by you mentioning consciousness and conscience in a business discussion. What my concern is, where does that fit into the corporate structures that we have today?
I think that it fits in a transformative forum. From what I've seen, you know, I have a firm belief, based on my experience, that there are many, many people who are simply segregating themselves from what they do. Industry has gotten to the point where we're no longer we're no longer connected to the thing that we do. We go to the office and do our task list, and we might go to a training seminar about that job to improve our focus or to become inspired, and it lasts about a week, and then we go back to our other thing. I truly believe representatives here from organizations like Starting Block, people are lonely, people are frustrated, people are ready for change, and it's simply connecting them to organizations like Starting Block. You can do a whole host of an institute which will teach you how to become on purpose, really motivate on purpose. And this is something that happens from the inside out, on a personal level and a corporate level. If you work in a corporation, do what I did. I went to a diversity event at UBS, and I went right up to the CFO and I said, "Hi, my name's Allie, and I'm interested in socially responsible investing and bringing that here." He said, "Great, that sounds great. Yeah, send me an email." And I just developed a correspondence. It all really begins with that personal contact, I think. And if we don't do that and we don't take the action and take the step, we can see what's happening. But I'm a firm believer that in the face of these powerful institutions, connect with the people. Sometimes you'll find you allies where you least expect them. And I think Doug can speak to that as well.
Yeah, there is, my dad, I come from a West Indian family, a Jamaican family. And my dad's got a lot of great sayings. One of the sayings he's got is, first you do it, then you find the courage. Right? It's pretty deep. And what Allie was talking about is very courageous. Most people don't want to stand up and declare themselves to be anything different than what the corporate culture says they should be or need to be. So, the notion of shareholder value is one that is very narrow, too narrow, and it has taken hold of American business and much of the business in the rest of the world, which leads you down to one path, which is profit only and profit in one way. And so what we need to do is to redefine what shareholder value means, and it really means doing good and doing well at the same time.
Second of all, I will remind us all here today that there is a demographic which has been labeled cultural creatives. It's 40 million people. The trend that we're seeing in all sectors is, for our baby boomers here, who and my mother, who's very active in the women's movement, that's her thing. We had environmentalists in the 60s, human rights activists, everyone, gay rights activists, and everyone segregated. Now there's a more general and more powerful, I think, group who has formed. They are concerned with spiritual beliefs and consciousness, environment, human rights, and culture, and just society. And under that rubric, the force of us working together is much, much greater than what we have today.
Let me jump in for a second,
yeah.
if I may. I am so positive about what Allie is saying to your question. So positive. We were at the White House April 28th. We met with Jared Bernstein, who's the chief economist. We met with Mo Vela, director of administration. We met with Terrell McSweeney, who's the head of domestic policy. We were talking about green. And what impressed me was not the administration officials. It was the young people, Allie's generation, that were there. They were sharp, they were smart, they were committed, and they're going to be in that administration, learn every trick of the trade, and then they're going to go back out in the corporate world. And that's where you're going to get your change.